Hello everybody, today we're going to be looking at every single thing we know about Generation 10 as of now. Let's get right to it. The whole project of Generation 10 was obviously called Project Gaia. This is the Teraleak for what the logos look like. It was Gaia K and Gaia N. There's a meaning behind these two letters. We'll get to that in a second. We saw in these Gaia tests that this was actually in 2023, which is so long ago. That was 2 years ago. And they had tests for every product. They're not fully done with it, but they were just still developing it as they go. And the recent build and test was conducted in September of 2023. So we could assume that for Generation 10, it would probably come in September of 2026 or October of 2026. The leakers said that they're not gonna disclose further details about these games, but we could make assumptions on what Gaia could be. It could be island themed, there'll be multiple islands. It's going to have islands hopping from one another. So we're going to be traveling through multiple portals and hopping towards one another. And each island is different themed. So it could be one theme has Arctic theme and one is grassy. So each island is different. They all have their own environments and there's going to be multiple of them. There's cyclades. There's lots of water everywhere. The legendary Pokemon actually has the power to shape or influence the islands. You could assume that there will be a lot of guardian deities and Pokemon that guard and watch over the islands, and they all have Pokemon that adapt to them. Every single Pokemon game, even in just routes, they have Pokemon that relate to the environments. So if it's a cave, we see Geodude. If it's a snowy mountain, we see polar bears. So these islands having distinct environments with Pokemon adapted to them is not really that surprising. And it's not going to be just an underwater theme or just an island. It's going to have multiple, so it's going to be very interesting. We're going to travel through them, and probably as we progress through each island, they could either do one of two things. They could either have each island get harder as we progress, have a story arc every time we travel through the islands, or we could just explore the islands in any order we want, like in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where we could explore any single order. It was up to us. It's like an RPG for us to decide. It's not going to be a story-based, but I really think that it's going to be story-based sequence, because in Generation 10, they want to step up things. It's going to be very interesting that the power of the Pokemon affects the island's environment. So depending on how island is shaped, there's thunderstorm, Pokemon could get very raged, and they could have a lot of different moods entirely. The hints for the Gaia, the Kaze and Nami, is what we saw earlier with the K and the N. So the K and the N could technically be like Kaze and Nami, which is Winds and Waves, as we said, the fan name of Pokemon Winds and Waves. And recent leaks have shown that a Nintendo Direct meeting regarding Nintendo Switch 2 has involved Game Freak. These details are subject to change. Now, a leaked hint was also from the well-known leaker Ball Guy, which I mentioned in the last video, is inspired by the Greek islands in the Aegean Sea. We see there's a lot of islands around the Cyclades. There is Paros, Naxos, a lot of multiple ones. I could just basically assume that small islands, maybe we could just start here as the hometown and then jump across different ones. Over here is the bigger islands. The bigger islands will have more things to explore throughout them. Now the South Aegean, there's actually Icerin. I think that's ice has to do with ice, and there's Aegean Sea. It's a large part of the sea, so the sea is definitely going to play a big role. And we got the Myrotone Sea. I don't know how to say that, but it's Myrotone. This actually exists in real life, so it's very cool if you ever get to visit it. It's close to the UK map. As the past Teraleak mentions, the island-themed region concept has multiple regions. There will be progression achieved by exploring the islands, and there's unique Pokemon, so new Pokemon that have formed for Generation 10. And legendary Pokemon shapes each island's environments. Currently, the region's name remains unknown. We know there's a lot of Apostles and Majin, but let's go through the Majin real quick. The Majin is the mysterious divine beings, and it's really unknown whether they are actual Pokemon or they're just extra-dimensional entities of divine origin. But what's confirmed is that each Majin governs or influences one of the region's islands. So Majin is the ones that look over. It's Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus. They basically just explore each region and shape it in whatever way they want. But did you know that it actually comes from demon but god? It's kind of weird that they're basing it off of demonic deity but also a divine spirit, because they both contrast. I think it could either be an angelic form, but sometimes the Majin could be this huge powerful Pokemon that we'd have to defeat. Legendary Pokemon, it could be very, very powerful. Like some of them could be evil, they could wreak havoc, like Giratina did with Legends Arceus. Remember Giratina was like the one that invaded all the islands, and he went out to Distortion World. Arceus as well, he kicked Giratina out. They didn't want Giratina, the demon, to haunt Sinnoh region. So the Majin is basically going to be like these huge powerful entities. The total number of Majin expected is 12 to 13. That's that's a lot. So I'm very excited to see if they come out with that. And the vessels are Pokemon that act as the power of Majin. They're not Majin themselves, but they're just like hosts. So they're the ones that absorb this type of power from the Majin. They radiate supernatural energy and they have a visible aura. This empowered form allows the Pokemon to perform divine level attacks, exert control over the environment, and wield abilities inaccessible to normal Pokemon. It's like Mega Evolution. They gain extreme power, they alter their appearance, they have this aura, so I could obviously assume that it's going to be like Mega Evolution. It's very exciting. But they do also gain slight color variations. It's not going to be huge color variations, it's only going to be like a little bit. Now the Apotheosis is what we're going to say, is the new gameplay mechanic. Apotheosis, they also like originate from the new item type called the Divine Sigils that equip to any Pokemon like the Mega Stones. The gimmick is tied to the praying hands emoji, where we pray to the Majin and they give the power to the vessels. So the vessels are the ones that undergo this change. The Majin is the powerful figure that shape the islands as well. They don't just shape the Pokemon, they also help change the environments, or they could harm it in some sort of way. But Pokemon equipped with a Divine Sigil cannot hold any other item in battle, which is very important to note. They cannot hold any sort of item because it would just be too powerful if you could also like have other like boosts, like mints. This is very cool. When activated, the Apotheosis transformation plays out with a dramatic animation. The dark clouds gather, a vortex forms around the Pokemon, and a divine bolt of lightning strikes down, like this picture right here. It's very reminiscent to the Legends Arceus scene where noble Pokemon were struck. So this is basically like the divine influence coming from the sky. And this is like the islands we could picture, the mountains. We got trees here, and then basically when we transform, it's going to be not like Mega Evolution where it's like a rainbow and they have a circle orb surrounding the Pokemon before it hatches. It's going to be like a lightning bolt that strikes down, sort of like a yellow color. I could imagine it could be like red as well. So it's going to be striking down onto the Pokemon once they transform. And some Pokemon will receive boosts when they receive the Apotheosis. This transformation involves like a huge change to the power. But let's go through what's potential Pokemon that confirmed to be Apostos, which is very, very interesting. So these are the confirmed concept art shown. They're Muk, Machamp, Mr. Mime. I really like how they're basing it off of the Kanto Pokemon because Generation 10 is based on the Kanto region. I mean, they're going to include some elements from the Kanto region. And Gallade and Gardevoir, I could definitely see like Apostle forms for this one. Because usually Gardevoir was also had a big Mega Evolution aspect to it, and Gallade is the counterpart for it. But this is not confirmed. It's either going to be one of these Pokemon. I think it's going to be most likely Mewtwo because Mewtwo is one of the most well-known legendaries out there since Generation 1. So I really think they're going to have to do with Mewtwo. And this from these three, probably going to be Druddigon because Druddigon, or Darmanitan too, because Darmanitan is Unova, and they're touching upon Unova Pokemon TCG cards with Black Bolt and Fusion Strike. This one, Kartana, I'm actually very interested that they put Kartana because it's from Ultra Sun and Moon, like the Ultra Beasts. So it's very interesting, but Kamoa will have that Totem Pokemon form, so they could also touch upon these three. But there are also 24 under consideration, which is a lot of these Pokemon. We could skim through it real quick. We got Flygon, yes, Flygon, remember Mega Flygon from Legends ZA? Really think that they're gonna put that in. And Keldeo. Tinkaton was from Scarlet and Violet, so we're looking through all these forms that could get Apostos. Pikachu, yeah, I think Pikachu will get some sort of, there's no way Pikachu is just gonna be ignored in this new generation. This is where things start to get interesting. According to leaks, Game Freak aims to introduce around 120 new Pokemon, which is likely include standard species and regional forms. So standard species, probably like animals. Regional forms is going to be specific to Generation 10. Around 70 of the designs are reportedly in final development stages, which is actually a lot, like 70 of them are ready for Generation 10. So that means that it's pretty soon to introduce to us. Now the vessels mentioned earlier are not included in the count of 120, meaning that the final total of new designs could approach 150. Now the first leaked Generation 10 Pokemon is the Apostle, codenamed A10, which is a monkey-like species designed very early in the development process. I'm very excited to see if there's actual new monkeys. I mean, every generation they introduce new monkeys, like last year, the Scarlet and Violet, we had Monkey Dory, but this time we're gonna have a new monkey-like species that include the Apostle, which is Apostle is remember the divine figures, the big figures, these are like the powerful ones for Generation 10, and it was actually affiliated with multiple Magian, making it the symbolic mascot or the poster Pokemon for the Apotheosis mechanic. So basically, like, remember Mega Evolution? Mega Evolution basically had these posters that whenever you think of Mega Evolution, what Pokemon do you think about? For me, I would either think about Charizard or Lucario. So Lucario was basically like the poster Pokemon for Mega Evolution. But Apotheosis this time, it's gonna be like a monkey Pokemon for representing this mechanic. We also have multiple different forms, each representing a different divine blessing. But many fans speculate it may be linked to an unknown Pokemon silhouette seen in the Scarlet Violet books. Though this is unconfirmed or maybe just a coincidence, we see this right here. This is a monkey right here. No, this was Pawmot actually and Flamingo, but this was like monkey Pokemon that was in the Scarlet and Violet books. So it's very, very interesting if this actually connects with the Apotheosis gimmick. And starter Pokemon designs were presented in former meetings, but they were not officially revealed. But yeah, this is everything we know about Generation 10 so far, all the Apotheosis mechanic and the specific confirmed apostles. These are the confirmed ones. And the Apotheosis mechanic, this was what may look like. Generation 10 is going to have a lot of islands, we're going to have to hop around them. Each one is linked to a specific environment and Pokemon that watch over them. Thank you guys for watching, like the video and subscribe. Peace.